Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Mega Man 7. Now we're going to go ahead and take on Cloudman as our next Robot Master, as I've already defeated the first two and taken down the interstage. And something I decided to do for this is I went ahead and I changed the wallpaper in the background, so it's something slightly different to look at throughout the video. I don't know. I just wanted to flip through them because why not? So yay! It'll probably be different ones for each episode if I remember to change them. But Cloudman's stage is fairly simple. You want to keep an eye on these robots here. And this isn't working. The reason I'm trying to try to shoot him with Freezeman's weapon is so that way, well, as you'll see in a minute here, is so that way it'll be snowy instead of pouring rain and dark. Because the reason you want it to be snowing is so that way later in the stage you'll be able to see a certain part of it a lot easier instead of basically just blindly going through the game. Well, not through the game, but just through the certain section of the stage where you can't see and just have a tiny light to be what helps try and get through the stage. But Cloudman's stage is just kind of, you know, one of these sky stages, much like Airman's, because you got like these same floating clouds, enemies that are meant to shoot you off, but it's much easy, well, not really much easier, but just as simple and easy as Airman's stage back in Mega Man 2. You just gotta take care of the enemies, watch where you're jumping, and don't get hit realistically, but even then, these platforms are so large where it wouldn't matter either way. Now this is right here is what I was talking about. The reason you want to be careful here is because this is the section where if it's still raining, you won't be able to see. And if you can't see, you probably won't see the section up here where you can use Rush Jet, or not Rush Jet, Rush Coil, and jump up here. So that way if you go back to the left, you can collect the U circuit plate. And I'm just going to jump back down here. But unless you know it's there, it's going to be a lot harder to spot in the dark section, because you'll only really be able to see like these platforms right next to you. But that's the only part of the stage that actually does that. So I recommend having the freeze cracker so that way you can actually get through it without much of an issue. And we have a bit of a ladder, so let's go ahead and see what's up here. I know that whistle. It is Proto Man. It's been a while, Mega Man. Here's a little information. Your weapons can be used to discover hidden areas. Try using the flame weapon in the woods. But we don't have a flame weapon. At least not yet. But you can see that we're clearly going to get one because of Proto Man's message. And if you look at the wallpaper, it shows off all the weapons that you get in the game, so you'll you can easily see like which weapons we already have. Now, right here is actually a good section where you can actually farm out bolts. And this will come in very useful later. So keep it in mind, especially if you're playing Mega Man 7. Because Mega Man 7 does something interesting. As you've already seen, like, we're able to collect some power-ups like Rush Jet, not Rush Jet, Rush Search, and the circuit plates. Well, something you'll see a bit later on is we're also able to buy them in the shop. And that's what the bolts are for, is for the shop. But now, right now we have Cloudman to deal with, so I'll explain the shop in a bit. Now, Cloudman, unless... okay, I just missed. Unless you're fighting him without his weakness, which is Burstman's weapon, he is very easy. You just have to stand planted here, wait for him to rise back up, hit him again, and that's it. Once his invincibility frames wear off, hit him again. And it's just repeat the process over and over until he eventually goes down, because eventually he will. And Cloudman and Junkman, as long as you have their weaknesses, are easy. You will have no problem with them as long as you have their weapons, and they also give you really good weapons at that. Because Cloudman will give us... wait for it, so I don't want to spoil things for some reason. The Thunderbolt fires out electrically charged spheres, right? This game is like older than me, yet I don't want to give away stuff that should already be clear. Yes, and it also can be used to power some electronic machines, which will be useful in the next stage. you get Thunderbolt. Honestly, if it was me, I would have called it like the Thunder Shock or something. But on to the final Robot Master. Well, before we do that, let's head off to the shop. Now, this is not actually explained in-game. You actually had to have the manual back when this game came out, so if you press the select button, you can head off to the shop. And it's Otto and Eddie. Welcome to Big Eddie's. I'm Otto, Dr.light's #1 student. Unfortunately, I've lost one of my bolts, and so I have a couple of screws loosed. If you find my Hyperbolt, I would appreciate it if you bring it back here. Anyway, I'll try my hardest. I'll make items out of any other bolts you may find. Select the item you want to make. Now, the shop basically does have, you got beat, you got extra lives, weapon tanks, energy tanks, and all that. The only thing is, beat, you can't currently purchase that. I pressed the wrong button. I did not mean to buy an extra life. Oh well, now at least we now have one. Might come in handy later. But let's head off and take on the next Robot Master, Junkman. Now, Junkman I honestly find is a pretty cool Robot Master. He does have like a pretty neat design, but in Battle Network, he can just, I don't care for him in Battle Network because he's really difficult. But enough about that game. Junkman stage actually is a lot like Dustman's actually. You're basically just in a giant junk place, like trash type thing. Like disposing of trash. It's just a different level layout and different boss almost. So, other than the new music, there's not really much going on for this stage. But at the same time, it's not like it's crazy bad. Now, right here, as long as you have the freeze cracker, we just need to get off a little bit further. This wall of lava here, if you freeze it, it'll break and you can get to this hidden path. Now, you want to freeze this next one, and we can collect the final plate, the S circus plate. Now, this spells out Rush, if you didn't notice that. So now we have access to the Super Adapter, which you can fire a charged fist, not fish, and you also have a bit of flight. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just die real quick, because I need to go to the upper path to get another item that we'll want later in the stage. But the only thing with the Rush Adapter is it's basically the same as in Mega Man 6, so you can no longer slide, but the charged fist, not fish! Why can't I say fist? And here you can power this up like Dr. Light was saying with the Thunderbolt. But you can power up the fist attack, and the double jump, it's not really a double jump, but it basically is a double jump. Just kind of somewhere in between that line. But it is very useful to keep. So, it's one of those things where as long as you have it, keep it with you, because it'll be very useful as long as you have it. So, that's something I recommend, like, just constantly keeping use of, because as long as you have it, it's a good... Okay, shit! I didn't mean to die there. I'll be right back. Okay, now that we're back... Now, the reason you want to start up the electrical machine is once you get up here, is you want to go... Okay, let me grab the ladder. Alright, one more. There we go. You can collect Rush Jet. Now, the reason you need to have the Thunderbolt is because one of these platforms that are moving will be right in between, so you won't be able to pick it up. So that's why you need the Thunderbolt to get that moving. But let's head off. Now, you can also power up these machines here and have it so it'll activate the magnets. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. You guys can see. And this actually brings back like a concept back in Mega Man 3. We keep bringing back old Mega Man games, but, you know, with Magnet Man stage, when you have like those magnet guys that would pick you up and just drag you along the stage, either back and forth. Alright, I want to go ahead and just try to fly through this section, because I'm not dealing with you block guys. Because I hate these things in Mega Man 1, and I hate them here. Even though they do have, even though they do have like a normal, whatchamacallit, a normal pattern that they stay with, I still don't like dealing with it. And that was poor timing! I'll be right back. Again. Okay, let's try this room again. This time I'm just gonna rush jet through the whole thing because I'm not risking it. You know? you don't want to risk anything if you don't have to, because if you don't gotta risk it, well then, you know, stuff's gonna turn out in your favor, I guess? I don't know where I was attempting to go with that, honestly. Yeah. Dying twice shortly before the boss room. Now, Junkman is weak to the Thunderbolt, but I'm going in weakness order, at least for these Robot Masters. I'm going in weakness order. Now, Junkman, like I mentioned before, once you hit him once, he's super easy. Shoot him, he'll jump across the room and throw a piece of trash when you slide under him, and rinse and repeat. By the time he hits the ground, his invincibility frames will have already worn off, so you can just turn around and hit him again. And he goes down just like that. Nothing to it. But now we get actually a really good weapon in the game. And if it wasn't for the power-ups that you can get in Junkman stage without really needing to backtrack, I would recommend getting this weapon. The Junk Shield will protect the user with rotating spheres, right? Yes, but the spheres can only absorb so much damage before they are destroyed. And now we have the Junk Shield. Now, the Junk Shield is actually really good. Other than the Jewel Satellite that you can get in Mega Man 9, this one is also very powerful, and I recommend using it if you don't want to use like the Mega Buster or need to stay shielded. Welcome home, Mega Man. Dr.light, what do you think of Bass? His actions don't seem to indicate a threat. I don't believe he is our enemy. And the TV just turns on automatically. What is this? What, your TV turning on out of nowhere? Wily is attacking the Robot Museum. You must leave now, Mega Man. And now we're in the Robot Museum. This stage is actually fairly short, and you get to see like some old Robot Masters like Snake Man, Blizzard Man. You've got Flame Man in the background there, Pharaoh Man, Heat Man, and as well Plant Man, who's also just sitting in the background behind all of them. And you also have Ring Man and Skull Man, and Wily appears to be running off with Guts Man. Seriously, what is it with him and Guts Man? It's like he was in the first game. He had statues of him all over his castle in the first game. He had the Guts Dozer in Mega Man 2. Gamma looks like Guts Man in Mega Man 3. It's like, where does it end, Wily? Trying to think of another comparison. Okay, this is clearly not working. This clown robot, I forget the name of it, is weak to the Thunderbolt. So what you want to do is you want to shoot his head off. And then that'll start bouncing around, and then you can start attacking the head and start doing some damage to it. Although eventually he will go over to it, pick it back up, and throw it back on, so... And you also cannot hit him while his head is spinning, so you gotta wait for him to land and then his head stop. The only problem with this is... Well... The Thunderbolt is a fairly large projectile, and his head is small with a large body. So it becomes difficult to, like, get the right angle to shoot the head off, and then like stay continuously dodging. But that's all it takes to knock him down. I'm also kind of wondering what the heck with all the extra broken glass circuits, he's only still Guts Man. Mega Man, it's a disaster. Willy and his robots are rampaging through the middle of the city. Get going! Well, I'm sure you can guess what this means. Another 4 Robot Masters. But that's going to be the end of this episode. So I will see you guys in the next one. Later.